If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Shout out to the big homie Kevin RJ. How much have I missed? No commento.
Yeah, but don't worry, we are on the last song, but it just so happens that this one is a double reaction, which means any song over 10 minutes is considered 2 reactions. So this one makes 2 reactions. So the name of the band is Panopticon.
Panopticon, yep.
Rune's Heart. And this is True Cult's pick. The leader of this
group
is...
Oh, this is a True Cult?
Yep. The leader of the group is Neil.
Talk to me, Neil.
Okay, so they said Austin, the sole member of the band, doesn't normally release lyrics with his songs. And that holds true here. However, with such a long song, he posted quite a long and very emotional story about what the song is about. Something Sori mentioned in a recent live stream that she wanted to do was read the lyrics to the song, or in this case, the written story behind the song, and then react to it. Oh, cool. This song is perfect for it because it is so clearly captures 2 parents' emotional state as they go through this traumatic event. God. Here is the link to the story behind the song. Something of a note, Austin's wife Becca provides vocals on this song at various points. This is a long song and a long story, but it's well worth your time. It's one of my favorite songs that I've ever submitted.
Who submitted that? That Kel?
I think it's Kel, yeah, that wrote that.
Okay.
Okay, and then Neil says, winner of the Black Metal Epics poll, a playlist of black metal songs that reach the epic lengths of being over 10 minutes long to really allow the band or artist to explore a song. Panopticon is a one-man atmospheric black metal band from the U.S. In the next comment, Kellen Dross, who submitted the song, will provide some additional context to the track, as I believe there's no official lyrics posted for this song. Okay, so where is this it?
Yeah, it's that link right there. That's the story.
Oh, God, okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
From the linear notes, I left the lyrics of this song off as they are a letter to Rune, but here's a brief explanation as to what this song is about. Rune's Heart was written about my youngest son. Rune was born with a rare heart condition that caused him to have irregular valves and an aorta that was restricted, called a
coarctation of the aorta.
The discovery of Rune's issue wasn't made until he was 2 years old. Oh, God. He seemed to be a healthy, active little boy. To avoid potential complications or damage to his heart, he was immediately scheduled for reparative surgery. Becca, my wife and Rune's mom, and I had no idea what to expect. It was one of the most unstable and terrifying times in our lives. The surgery Could be non-invasive, simply just a stent or a balloon, angioplasty, all the way up to full-blown surgery, serious heart surgery. I'll never forget that day that Becca broke the news to me as long as I live. When the day for surgery finally came, neither one of us were entirely sure just what was going to happen. Our fears were confirmed, and Rune would undergo a thoraectomy and... Oh, can you just read those, babe? Whoops. Sorry.
Tracheotomy or no thoraectomy. I almost that whole story with me.
Yeah.
I almost had to do a tracheotomy.
Yeah.
And the coarctation repair.
He would be put under and cut open with a heart surgeon cutting out and sewing up the stench in his aorta. That morning, after a sleepless night, we took our precious little boy to the hospital. We held him tight as they dosed him to put him to sleep. The nurses took our little man away from us as he fell asleep in some stranger's arms. Beck and I waited silently in the waiting room. To occupy my mind, I looked for runes in the pattern on the floor, the bricks on the wall, the chairs, anything, hoping for or clinging to some sort of sign. Beck and I conversed and tried to calm each other's fear, shedding tears and holding hands. Finally, they led us into the intensive care unit, and we saw our little boy sleeping, tubes coming out of him, and a PICC line in his neck. He was pale and limp, but the surgery had been a success. As time went on, many complications arose, some that required extensive changes and struggles. Rune's body was having a hard time healing due to something called
Cryothorax.
a condition where clial fluid prevents wounds from closing and begins to collect in the chest cavity. Since he was still breastfeeding, he was only 2. He had to be immediately weaned. Fats in blood he consumed would cause the fluid to increase and prevent the leak site from closing. This continued on and on for weeks. Fluid drained from a tube in his tiny chest, resulting in Rune eventually being placed on a non-para-oral diet, only being fed through an IV. My little man went 17 days without food or water. He begged for food. It was soul-crushing to deny him. In spite of his suffering, no progress was made, and he required another very painful procedure to try to close the wound called chemical pleuritis. This would seal his chest wall to his lung permanently. My anger and rage boiled over. I couldn't bear to see my son continue to suffer, and I began to lose hope and patience. I just wanted to see him smile and hear him laugh again. Becca, my wife, remained strong and calm. She eased my worries and led me back to being a strong and rational man. This had to happen. There was no choice. Several days after the procedure, the fluid output became less and less until slowly he was allowed to have ice to eat and then an apple. Soon he was up and walking and began to act like a normal little boy again. After a month and a half of Rune's suffering and Becca and I barely sleeping as we watched over him in the night, we finally went back to our rural home in central Minnesota. Rune would have to follow a zero-fat diet for 4 months to ensure that there was no reoccurrence, and special precautions were taken as his wounds healed. He developed a lot of fear and anxiety surrounding water and food. Seeing a 2-year-old with PTSD is certainly unsettling. Many details, trials, and difficulties of this period of our lives have been left out of this writing, as I felt the particulars of this event, the gore and the trauma, the drama of it all were not particularly relevant to the purpose I am writing this for. Certainly I didn't wish for my family's pain to be on display, or to violate the privacy of my wife and children any more than I have already. The point of relaying this story is this: to parents with ailing children and people with ill loved ones, you're not alone. Since this happened, I have met so many people who have gone through similar ordeals. I have come to know many other people that have survived these traumas. Peace may not Peace may or may not come, wellness may or may not come, but hope is what gets us through, and the way to find hope is to reach out to others. We would never have made it through if it weren't for our friends and family. Now that it has passed, as we sort through the wreckage of our hearts and minds, we rebuild it with the love of our friends and families, and the joy of our healthy, growing, vibrant little boy. Rune, as of writing this, is 4 years old with a healthy heart. He is strong as an ox and is a joyful child. He loved his brother. He is loved by his brother Hakan and Becca and I beyond measure. This song was written for Rune, but this recording is dedicated to Becca. Her heroic strength through this ordeal is what carried our family through this horrible month and a half of fear and doubt and the chaos that followed. My love and gratitude for her is beyond measure. Her strength and motherhood is absolutely heroic. And I'd like to especially thank Reese, Pat, and Trot for coming through for us when we needed them most. You are the men I aspire to be like. Thank you for continuing to help me grow and be a better man. Don't let that burn out, Austin. A portion of the profits of this release will go to the Children's Hospital Heart Unit in Minneapolis to show our family's gratitude for what they have done for our family. Oh my God, I'm so glad the boy survived.
Yeah, I was prepping myself for the...
So was I. I mean, I was like, oh my God.
I was just getting myself ready.
Yeah. Holy shit.
But thank you. You came through for the homie. I appreciate it.
Ugh. Okay. All right. So that is the story of the song.
All right. Here we go. Rune's Heart, Panopticon. Let's do this shit.
was strong. This became, I don't understand. Swirling thoughts, fractured sleeve, torment of all of the unknown. Faded ghosts, withered dreams. Please don't leave us here alone.
Amazon account is up and running now. We are selling our formula officially. It's amazing stuff from Europe.
Made in Germany. Sold in America.
Highest standards there are. In America, the standards haven't been updated since 1980. It's super weird, like older than me. In Europe, they update safety standards basically every year. This formula is top notch, great for the stomach, great for constipation. This is a great product. If you happen to want to purchase it and join us on our journey, then grab the link in the description. If you do and leave a review for us, send me a screenshot at vinandsori@gmail.com of your review after you have received the product. We will put your name in a hat. Song reviews are going to come out by some of the people that have left reviews. Don't forget to send us a screenshot of your review once you get the product. Now a word from our mascot dressed as a pirate, Fuji.
Ah! It's a deal of a deal.
Wow. He put a lot of his emotion into that.
It was interesting watching the commentary because people were saying, "Oh, this doesn't sound sad." And then Cal was like, "Well, wait a second," because that middle part was the acoustic part.
Yeah.
And then some people were saying, "Well, maybe he's angry." And it's interesting watching a dude work through his emotions, and having a 20-minute song makes it so you really kind of you get a kind of bigger picture of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I without hearing the context of the song, I definitely would not have gotten this dude was sad. But the thing about the situation that they were in is that when your kid is in trouble, you don't feel sad. The big thing you feel is fear, especially if your kid has any sort of, I remember, I told the story before. Dorian got mixed up with some people, yada, yada, yada. Dorian comported himself like a man. The other kid didn't. Used a weapon, attacked him, hit him with a stick, whatever. But his back looked terrible.
And his chest.
It looked really horrible. And so I wasn't sad. I was afraid because I was away from him, and then I was angry. I was furious, and I was afraid, and so I understand why if his son would have died, I'm sure it would have been a depressing, terribly sad song. But if he's talking about the emotions, the main emotions that you feel when your kid is in trouble, it's fear. And if you listen to that opening riff, it was extremely, the first kind of quarter of the song was extremely unique. I'm actually gonna, I know you hate this, but I'm gonna pull this up and play that specific part of the riff because it was really interesting. That's not it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's it makes shit sound really chaotic.
Yeah, like a crazy
we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, stuff's out of hand here.
The conveyor belt stuff is happening.
Yeah,
you're getting moved around, and life is just that first half, that emotional. And he put that at the beginning of the song because it's that first time where the doctor. I remember when Dorian was getting, we're getting ultrasound for Dorian. And she's like, oh, yip, yip, yip. And then she got dead quiet. She stopped talking. Then she looked at her paper. Then she looked at me. She's like, do you guys have any issues with kidneys in your family? And immediately, the blood pressure just, skyrockets and you're terrified. And same thing happened with Zoe. Although Zoe was worse because they were saying, Your daughter is extremely underdeveloped, and we're going to have to send you to Portland to discuss your options. Which, again, it turned out that Zoe was actually a week ahead in her development. Not, whatever. They tell you the same thing about Sailor. She's not compatible.
They called me on a Friday at 6:00, so you're not gonna get on the phone with anybody. Well, actually, I probably could have if I would have known how it worked. I probably could have gone. But I didn't know I could talk to somebody because it was after hours. And they told me that she wasn't compatible with life. And they were going to send me for, further testing and stuff. But they were pretty well convinced. and there was absolutely nothing wrong with her. I couldn't even
You guys,
believe they said that to
you
me.
guys have seen Sailor.
Oh my gosh, that was so scary.
So
That
like,
was
yeah,
holy shit.
you're immediately you're terrified.
Yeah.
Terror is the first thing. Your heart is, you know, you were in a constant state of hypervigilance, and it's terrifying, and you cannot sleep. I mean, you can't barely not like move. Like you know, when parents talk about like staying up at night, pacing up and down, worrying about their kids. That shit is real. It's real. So, so the instrumentation in this song, communicated more of the emotional kind of roller coaster than even the vocality did.
Yeah.
So that part of the song was first of all, that was a really unique riff, and it's probably it's probably the most unique like kind of lick I've heard this year. Like just what it communicated, and which it's not particularly complex. It's not particularly hard to play. I mean, and I could definitely, like, if you low E'd that, it could sound like Pantera, but it just the way that he did it, it was really unique, and it definitely communicated all that stuff. But damn,
Yeah.
being a parent sounds awful emotionally. Well, the thing is, here's the thing about that though, Delaney, is that the fear that parents have of losing their children, that is impossible to understand until you have one, is catalyzed by, not by the fear, but the love that the parent experiences, that is so deep and so transformative and so different than any other love that person has experienced, that is what creates the fear of losing that. So when you so there is a very deep, unique kind of fear that every parent has, but it is offset, and I would say way more, on the other side of the child gives you so much joy and so much fulfillment and such a unique look at the world, and create so many possibilities and motivations within you that it completely offsets the hard side of parenting. Mm-hmm. But when your kid is in trouble, man, like, that's, you will do anything. You will do anything and run through any wall for that kid. And I remember Dorian, you know, he was banged up. I went looking for those people. Like, I completely lost my mind, and Dorian was like it's interesting because in this song, I mean, in the little thing, the wife was the big source of strength for him during the entire situation. He was the nervous wreck. His wife was the one that was the sort of the pillar of the home. And in that situation, Dorian was like Dorian was trying to stabilize me. I was like losing my shit. He's like, Father, you need to calm down. But yeah, man, when that kid, when you bring that kid home from the hospital, man, it's or you hold her for the first time, that it's such a crazy, you know, they're completely nonverbal. They calm down. They're looking at you. They're looking around, but they're, you know, I've been blessed, like all the kids. Like always had a moment with each of them, and I always take all the. I have a little ritual. I always take the kids aside and say something to them. But when you see that kid and you hold that kid, it's like, yo, I will protect you. I will do everything for you. I will not let anything hurt you. Like, it's like, you know, I'd had a little bit more than her. So when there's a 7-year gap between the last time she was waiting for Orion for 7 years, basically, right? So when she had him, like, she didn't even want like a raindrop to hit his head. You remember that whole situation? We were trying to take him to the pediatrician. There's like rains on his head, like she's losing her mind.
He wasn't even a week old. I didn't want any rain getting on him. Of course, I didn't want rain getting on him.
But see, when you're a parent, that's the other thing too. Is like you want to, you know, like it's very hard when something is attacking your child that you can't control. So like that was the thing that was fucking me up when I was driving down there. I was like, yo, like I'm gonna kill these people, like because like I wasn't there, like you know what I'm saying? Like that was really fucking me up. Like how I was getting a haircut, so I'm like, yo, you're getting a haircut while this is happening to your son. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Which is it was a completely irrational thought, but when I analyzed why I lost my mind like that, like that's really what it came down to. Like I wasn't even angry at the person that I was going after. I was angry at myself for not being there, even though it's completely irrational. Like you were getting a haircut. What do you mean? But like I was just like, yo, I was sitting in a chair while this dude went after my son. I was like, yo, I'm gonna kill this dude, bro. So imagine now the thing that's going after your kid is like his own body. So that's where you're seeing the anger in the song, because where do you ventilate that to?
Yeah, but I think that as a parent, you know that like your kid comes from you. So it's like, okay, his heart was constructed of half her, half him. You know what I mean? So like as a parent, you probably would feel some sort of guilt, like am I the reason, or you know what I'm saying? Like you maybe you wouldn't feel that way. I know, like I'm a different person now than I was, you know, when I was pregnant with Selah, but certainly when I had the miscarriage, I felt like I had anger toward myself. So I would think in this situation, you know, 2 years old. Oh my God. When he was explaining it, it was just, it was horrific.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why the majority of the song was heavy, because it's like, and the other thing too, when I analyzed myself, was like, I was angry at myself and I was afraid, because that whole situation like made me realize, dude, you can't protect that kid forever. So I was running away from those so I was trying to use violence to run away from those emotions. So like when I analyzed like that situation, I'm like, yo, what was going on with me was one is I felt like I failed him. Two was it was just a glaring example of like, yo, you're never going to be able to protect them forever. And that is something like I still haven't reconciled myself to, and not something I wanted to face. And so I was trying to revert back to old bullshit habits because I was afraid of that reality. So that's why I understood immediately why the song was aggressive for 3/4 of the song. It's because like now he has to deal with the fact that this thing is attacking his boy, and he can't do anything. He can't shoot anything. He can't get his hands on anything. He can't, you know, like. And then the other thing is he has to hand his son over to other people to save his son. And he can't. So I understand like the rate, and then it's like, who do you ventilate that to? Biology, bacteria, God. I mean, he seems like a very spiritual guy. He seems like he's in touch with his heritage. So I don't know how that works out for him. You know what I'm saying? But
I think the other thing too was the song never had a low, like a calm point, because I think that when it went from like, well, it had like slower points, but the slower points were still pushing forward. Like there was never any rest, I guess you could say. And it kind of gave you the feel that, like, you know, if you're in that situation with your kid and it's a 1.5 years long where you're like up and downing it and you don't know what's going to happen, there's going to be no rest in that 1.5 years. It's just going to be, you got to keep pushing yourself forward, because he can't fall apart when his kid is in this situation and you know what I mean? He has just too much on his plate, but he's got to keep moving forward. And I think that the song communicated that struggle of having to keep going forward when you feel like you're going to break apart. Yeah,
it was kind of triumphant toward the end.
I agree.
It was kind of triumphant toward the end, and
I felt like that was like the healing after everything. But in this one, it was like the licking of your wounds because the kid made it. But they're
yeah. Like I don't have like a triumphant, like I haven't gotten to that point of accepting that. It's like Peterson said about the Pieta, where you've got this crucified, mangled Jesus in the arms of Mary. And he said essentially that's the job of every mother, but it resonated with me too, that you prepare your kid for crucifixion, man. Like you prepare your kid and then you send them out into the world, and it's a horrible place out there, man. And it's not like, there's a sense in which they're going to go on and basically live normal lives, although our particular family, but there's also a sense in which they're gonna experience the coldness of the world. They're gonna experience the consequences of hate, all those types of things, and I'm not gonna be able to protect them from all that. And I still haven't reconciled myself to that, And I had this conversation. Like, I don't understand like how our parents like allowed us to do half the shit we did. I was in the Bronx, New York. Like, shit was on the line every day. Now like as an adult, now I understand. Like, my mom used to tell me, like, you particularly are gonna take years off my life. I used to laugh at her, but now, like, I completely understand, and I completely believe I did, because I was, everybody knew, like, it was, she was convinced every single day she was going to get a bad phone call about me. And there are times that she almost did get, but there are times I wouldn't come home because I didn't want her to see, like, I was pretty fucked up. I just came out of the hospital, you know what I mean? Like, there have been times I've been, like, hospitalized, my mom didn't even know. My family didn't know. I'd go sleep over at whatever's house or whatever because, like, it would be too much for them because I was really super fucked up. So I would have rather them, like, thought I was out with some girl or whatever than what actually fucking happened.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I put my mom through a lot of shit, man. As far as, like, that fear and the anxiety and all that, like, for the vast majority of the time we were in New York, she had that with me, so. And if you guys think the cops are bad now, I was at the end of the Giuliani era in New York City, so there were a lot of pitfalls that I really, really, really could have gotten into, that I, God's grace, I didn't. But yeah, it's a deep song. It's a tough song. But I also see the triumphalism because, like, deep down under all that shit, like, when I see videos like what they did a couple days ago together on their own initiative, fighting for babies, and they didn't even invite us. They didn't say, hey, come watch us speak. Like, they were just, oh, this bill's going in, we're gonna deal with it. They wrote up their own stuff, and they went off, and I'm just watching them, and I'm watching all of them, and they're up there fighting. They're at the capital of their state fighting for babies. I'm like,
and they had to wait 21 hours.
They had to wait 21 hours.
I was thinking how people wait, like, for long extended periods of time to get in the front of the line at a concert.
Yeah.
Like, these kids waited for 21 hours to be able to speak.
So that they could have 60 seconds to speak for kids.
They were going to have 3 minutes, but they cut them down to 1 minute.
We had nothing whatsoever to do with it. The point of that is to say, like, that's where the triumphalism comes in, because you see your kid starting to, like, come into themselves, and you realize they're gonna be okay. Like, the lessons that you taught them, like, it's garnering results. Like, they're it's really part of them, and they're gonna be okay. And even if because they're going to have hate thrown at them for who they are, for being black, for being Christian, for being pro-life, for being a woman, for being whatever, for being strange, for being queer, for being whatever. And I'm not going to be able to protect them all from that, but God is with them. He really is. And just like he was with me, he's going to be with them. I'm not at that place where I can consistently have that as my default feeling. I have to like go through all of these, cycles in my mind to get there. It was very difficult. I'm not saying 60% of what I want to say, but it was very, very, very difficult to hear that he had to tell his kid no for food.
I can't even hardly tell them no when they've had too many cookies.
It's the most unnatural thing in the world,
oh
man.
My God. And the kid's asking for food and water. Oh my word.
That's tough. And here's the thing, even though like you made it out, they made it out, you still don't get over those experiences. It like Dorian's back was fine after that. Like he's fine, and he's great. He's recovered. He's
been celebrated a lot because of it.
Yeah, he was called the king.
Like I think for him, it was like he was glad it happened because he was called a king in the neighborhood, and the family. We celebrated it.
He got a lot of respect.
We haven't stopped celebrating that.
He got a lot of respect. Got a lot of street cred for it.
But for a parent,
but like, and I'm just so happy. Like, people talk about religion being a crutch and all that, and I've always said, "Yep, that's great," because I'm a broken person, so I need crutches. Mm-hmm. But I remember I was looking at him, and Dorian he finally calmed me down, and I remember God like sitting next to me and saying, "You don't want your son to bear the wounds of Christ." And I said, "Hell no," because I don't bullshit with anybody. So I said, "Hell no." And he said, I'm not gonna say what he said, but like it was just like a crazy moment for me to be like, "Yo, that's what we're saying that God did." Mm-hmm. Like, when the kid's asking his dad for an apple, the dad has to say no. I'm just thinking Jesus in the garden. Is there any way to remove this? Is there any way to like get me out of this situation? And God the Father had to tell him no. Nah, you got to die, bro. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a crazy story.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like, I can't get over that story because the worst form of suffering is not that something happens to you. It's something that happens to your kid. So in the Trinity, I've got a father who's willing to lose his son for me and a son who's willing to lose his life. So like the two worst things that can happen happened in order to redeem me. But it's true. Like losing your kid is the worst. I don't know. So it's an inexplicable type of love that you have for this thing, and it's a crazy bond. Especially when they're, especially when they're sick. It's incredible. Like, I hate to say it, but it's like some of my favorite moments with my mom was when I was sick or in a lot of trouble. And that's why, like, I'd stay away from her when I was at the hospital, when I got, when things got really bad, because the first time we got jumped, I came home, actually, I didn't go straight home. I went to the barbershop, got a haircut, and then came home. And she was fucked up she was, they could have, killed you, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Like, she was an absolute, she was a wreck. So that's why I stopped coming over when that shit would happen, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want her to see all that type of situation. But anyway, it's a good song. It ended triumphantly to a degree, but it wasn't like fireworks triumphantly, but it was just the maturity that you get when you go through those storms. That's the other thing about parenting. Like, it's a little bit heavy because the situation is heavy, and I'm not gonna put on a face for anybody. You guys know that, but At the same time, though, as a parent, like, there's nothing more fulfilling, man. There's nothing more, and I want to be careful about the way that I say this, because not everybody's been able to have a child. It doesn't, just means there's a different plan.
Well,
go ahead.
I think that what happens is okay, so the Bible says that we know that each other is made in the image and likeness of God. And there's that celebration that you should have for other people. And I think that having kids affords you the opportunity of getting some of your own selfishness out of the way to be able to see and celebrate somebody like they should be celebrated. So when they're your own kid, like, it's easier to overlook their faults and their flaws and whatever. So you can really be like, oh my gosh, I love this human being. Where I still think that people can have like really meaningful experiences with other people. It's a little bit more difficult because you have to get your own selfishness out of the way so you don't get that jump start like you do with your kids. But there's, different people still have that because like I agree with you. I don't think like that's just like the end of it all. I think that those experiences are there for everybody in just different ways. But go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, it's a silent count. It's the craziest thing in the world to have a kid. Like, right from the beginning, from like going to the ultrasounds. Like, I remember going to the ultrasounds with Orion, and like, he was just like a little ball. We got to find that video because it's such
on your phone.
It's such a crazy video. He was literally a little ball. He was just spinning around. We were 11 weeks?
It was
8
really
weeks?
early. I thought it was like 8 weeks because I remember thinking that it was close to the age of.
And he was just spinning. It was just a little circle spinning around. It's ridiculous. So like,
He looked like a grain of rice just rolling. It was weird.
and now like
Why is
he's
he
in his
rolling like
bed
that?
and he's got his watch and he was telling me about how cool his watch is and his watch for his birthday and all this. Like, being a parent is insane. Like, You go, the kid's sleeping at night, you go and you just watch him sleep for no reason. And it's just so, but it's such a crazy, and it's a crazy thing to think like, yo, 5 years ago, you were not here. You did not exist.
Yeah.
And now you will never not exist. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's the most, like, metaphysical, spiritual, like, crazy moments. Like, I can almost have them all the time, like clockwork, just looking at the kids. Like, it immediately puts me in a spiritual, and it really puts you into like it's like a holy moment when I look at this kid and be like, yo, this kid is like half of me. Like, it's half of me, half of her. Like, what the fuck? Like, wow. And there was a time when he wasn't in the world, but here he is now. Like, It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, obviously, I'm obsessed with having them, and I'm obsessed with them. Like, every time I have one, I'm like, man, this is so, like, I want another one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It's fun. I love them. Anyway, Silent Count for me. It's a good song.
Me too. It's a silent count. Shout out to the alliances who came together tonight to create this stream that ended in sorrow. But you know what? Such is life. This is the way that it's going, I guess. Boo hoo.
Where are those things that you and Hefsey watch? What is it called?
Oh, on the.
What's that thing called? Like it's not the fail blog, is it? It's the.
No, that's it's a private Facebook group. Wait.
Yeah, but what, like.
Facebook Shorts. We find them in Facebook Shorts.
Well, what are the title?
Oh, the fails. Oh, yeah. Well, work fails. Work fails are usually pretty good. Because everybody knows what it is to fail at work, so seeing the work fails is pretty...
All right.
You're trying to put something funny.
Yes, we'll do the fails of the week. We'll do fails... So we'll react to fails of the week so that we don't have a mass harikari after that wonderful song. Did that feel like 20 minutes to you, though?
No, it didn't, but there was such a story to work through in your mind, like what these people went through.
Yep.
And like as I read the information, like I was horrified for what I was going to read next because I thought for sure it's not going to end well. I agree with Kellandros, though. I love the name Rune.
Yeah.
You like the name Rune?
Yeah, it's really... Yeah, isn't that part of like... That's part of like the pagan thing, right? Like that's a...
Yeah.
Isn't that like a... Well, I mean, we got Sadie here. Sadie, what's a rune?
I've only ever seen it like a symbol.
All right, guys, here we go. Here we go. Where's the fail? Oh. Yo, he could die. He could have died though. He could have got hurt. I like those news anchor fails.
Me too.
Oh shit! What happened? Shit. Oh, wait,
threw it
wait,
on the
I gotta rewind that part. Hold on, my bad. It's really fucked up. Yo, this person could have died right here, bro.
I know, because they fell right out.
Look at that.
To the other
That's
side.
almost what happened when I almost jumped on that PD.
Oh, okay. So they were trying to take off, and then their tire. I get it. Okay, I didn't get it the first time. I was like, why is that funny?
Oh my god, is that a bowling ball?
Oh, it's one of those rubbery balls. No, I didn't see it. You guys, you're gonna find out how horrible of a person I am. Oh my god! Listen to her. She's like, ah.
You know, she had some niggas with her too. It was like, yo, you good? You good?
I think she said "oh fuck" right before.
That is so fucked
Sorry, I
up.
went too far.
Don't watch it, the lady. Don't watch it. Holy shit, dude. That looks so.
Wow,
She said,
15 seconds was far.
She said, "Oh God." She said, "Oh God" before it happened. That's what fucked me up on the story, dude. Dude, she said.
Right? She said, "Oh God."
I'm pulling with bread in right now. That guy's about to spin out!
Some of this shit is like scary. Like,
No.
have you ever been on like an icy road? That shit is scary. Like,
That sounds like when I'm
some
driving
of these are
and you're
funny
in the
and
passenger seat.
Oh my god.
Did you hear him? Because he was already trying to say something and she didn't
It's
adjust.
terrifying. It's terrifying.
And so then he yells.
Yeah. That's a fucking terrifying feeling when you're behind the wheel. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I'm always.
I think you're over exaggerating,
I'm
babe.
always tense.
Back that up again, because I need to hear. I need to hear what he was trying to say to her, because I believe he was trying to warn her and she didn't make any adjustments.
It definitely sounded like a me and you conversation in this kind of situation for sure. For sure.
That guy's about to spin out!
No, it was right before that. He was already saying stuff to her.
Hit me or no?
Well, I would say, hey.
No, back it up.
I would say that guy's about to spin out. I
No,
would be like
I'm
that.
telling you, that was the end of the video. That was when he was already saying something to her before.
Oh, okay.
See, he says car pulling out right in right now.
I see. And she wasn't.
And she didn't.
And then so he goes, car's about to spin out.
No!
That guy's about to spin out!
So he was trying to be calm at first, and Shorty just didn't adjust at all. The speed didn't change nothing, bro. She just kept on driving like, yeah, we good. We good.
Oh, man.
This shit is funny to me because she tried to act like she was like...
Yeah, she looked around like, you.
I'm pulling with bread in right now.
See how she's trying to be calm?
See?
That guy's about to spin out!
And then she screams, ah! She says, ah!
No.
Idiot. Holy shit. He jumped on the ice face first.
Oh, no!
Yes. It had
That's ice.
It had ice on it.
Yo, it was ice. He
Yeah,
thought
he
it was
shouldn't have
just
done
a
that.
regular thing. He jumped on it with... Why would you do... He
Well,
didn't know there was ice?
I think he knew there was ice, but I think that he didn't realize how thick or painful it was going to be.
How could he know that that's ice? That doesn't look like it at
Babe,
all.
he's getting up on the side and he's breaking the ice when he is. I'm sure he knew. But I... I laughed.
What? Oh no!
Oh my gosh, is his face in water?
It's underwater. That's what I'm saying. Some of this shit is... How did that happen?
Big one.
Good work, Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
Oh, my eyeball. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Anybody.
Ew.
Ew, he pooped on him!
That's not funny.
Te va corriendo.
Yeah, see, these are not...
Yeah, all these look dangerous. Like
Yeah.
people could die or break their...
I don't mind, like, a couple of those, but, like, not all of them like that. You know what? I should have someone, because I like, pull these all the time. I love them. I should actually put some to the side that I think are funny and show them to you guys.
All right.
So if we have a bummer stream, we can do that.
There you are, dear listener. Well, having said that, the moral of the story is be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. Vin out.
Sorry,